Ask Reddit. Married men of Reddit, what was that dumb thing you did during your dating phase that you can't believe your wife ended up overlooking? Part 2. She was about to sneeze and she was sitting half on my lap, so I kinda thought she was gonna sneeze on me, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I put my hand up to block her sneeze, except I had a glass in my hand and I blocked her own hand from covering her sneeze, and instead she slammed her face into my glass. Married 6 years now, she still has all her teeth. This made me laugh so much. I think it's kinda cute too. Like you were trying to help but didn't think it through, but told yourself, I'm going to help her anyways. The intentions were good. I hope it's something you both look back at and simply laugh and laugh. We were taking a shower together and she was soaping up while I was under the hot water rinsing off, and she slipped, and instead of helping her, I pulled away, thinking for some reason that I'd already rinsed off and didn't want to get soapy. Thankfully, she caught herself on the shower curtain and didn't get hurt. She was, not happy. My explanation of my faulty thinking didn't help at all either. We laugh about it now, but it took some serious smoothing over at the time. I did something along this line. We were taking a shower together and hubby, boyfriend at the time, decided to have a tickle fight. Well, I hate being tickled, so I instinctively pushed back. This caused him to fall out of the shower and hit his head on the back of the toilet. He ended up with a giant bruise on his back, and I was bawling my eyes out because I thought I killed him and/or our relationship. We have been together for 7 years now, married for 4. I still don't live this one down. I know what my husband would say because I will tease him to this day. We had been dating for 2 weeks and we were spooning on his futon watching a movie. Out of nowhere he says, I'm really sorry, I can't hold it in anymore, and rips a huge fart. My husband was a very clean, tight-knit, prudish kind of guy, so I couldn't help but let out the biggest laugh while he turned about as red as his beard. I've been seeing this girl for a little bit now. We started back in March, took a break because I moved, and we're back on again, just long distance. I will hold in farts for hours just to avoid that. If I can't hold it anymore, I will excuse myself to the bathroom. The last time I left her house and got in my car, I let out one of the biggest in my life. I learned farts do in fact build on each other. Little late to the party, but here's my story. When we had only been dating a month or so, my then boyfriend went to pick me up, I assume, and accidentally threw my head through the ceiling and gave me a concussion. He's 6'8" and just really misjudged the distance. I also had a hard time getting used to his height and very regularly kneed him in the balls for about 2 years while cuddling, so I think we're even. We've been together 6 years now and proud to say we haven't injured each other in about 4. 6'5" here, my wife is 5'3". I've done all kinds of stupid stuff like this. I don't know my own strength or my own size, especially compared to her. I've hit her too hard far too many times to count. I had just started a job working with her, and unbeknownst to me at the time, her mom and I did not get along. My move was, "What's up with that thick bitch?" She said, "Oh, I'll tell my mom you said hi." I was dead. But hey, here's we are, married 16 years, so... Ha! It was meant to be that you jumped straight into the role of hateful son-in-law. It wasn't until after we were married that my wife told me that I almost didn't get a second date because I talked way too much during the movie. I don't really remember it, but apparently I was leaning over every 30 seconds or so to tell her what I was thinking. Also, Valkyrie with Tom Cruise probably wasn't the greatest of a date movie, but it all worked out in the end. ETA. Please forgive me for my movie talking sins, everybody. I was a dumb teenager and she's really pretty. I was just quite anxious for things to go well. Bad idea to have a movie as a first date. Talk too much and you're self-centered because you shouldn't be doing that during a movie, and otherwise you can't talk at all and get to know them. First date with my wife. End of the night, I went to kiss her on the cheek, being all sweet and stuff. She thought I was leaning in for a hug and leaned in too. As she leaned in, I turned my head and instead of her cheek, I kissed her neck. Turned super red and embarrassed, then goodbye, and almost pushed her out of the door at my apartment. I immediately texted her sorry as well, and she laughed. 3 years into the marriage, she apparently didn't care. Better than me, I went in for a kiss, and this is where our versions differ. She turned her cheek, so I kissed her on the cheek goodnight. Next few dates, I got too scared to try again. Eventually, I straight up asked her if I'd try again, will she turn away. She stood stunned for a minute and then accused me of turning my cheek when we went for a kiss. In summary, we spent 2 months in each other's friend zone because we thought the other didn't want a kiss. On our first dinner date, my husband ordered a ton of food to show me his favorite at an Indian restaurant and forgot his wallet at home, and only discovered doing so when the check had arrived. Cleared me out well over $100, and he was absolutely mortified. But we've been married for near 2 years, so... My card got declined on the first lunch date we went on. The bill was less than $20. I was mortified. 15 years married now. When we were dating, my husband and I were holding hands when he had to cough. Instead of letting go of my hand and covering his mouth, he continued to hold on, brought it up to his mouth, and coughed into my hand. It was a dry cough. If it was anything more, I would have run. Sometimes a guy needs to do a scratch his jewels, but when you're in public, you just can't reach in. So lots of the time, it's just quickly over the pants. Not sure how I thought it was okay, but did a scratch while holding my girlfriend's hand on the third date. We were on the way to a movie. She was shocked but burst into laughter at the same time. Luckily, she can see the funny side to it. I just needed to scratch. I didn't ask her for her number the first time we hung out, knowing I may never see her again. My brother got it, and I later got it from him. My boyfriend had a similar experience. We met at a brewery. When he left my place later that night, we hadn't exchanged information. He went back to the pub to try and get my information from the bartender, etc. He ended up downloading an app he knew I used, but my name is not spelled the traditional way. He finally found me by my check-in through the brewery. I was very flattered by all the work he went through to find me. Weird that he didn't just ask for my number the night before. She had an Xbox and staying the night. She woke up to me playing some arcadey hockey game and providing commentary of, "Go! Go, go, go!" Told my then boyfriend at the time that I wanted to have sex for the first time, and he made me wait until his Magic the Gathering tournament was over. Were you gonna give him $50K? Because I think that's the prize pool for larger tournaments. If not, then he made a good decision. I decided to not shave for a few months since I was going to be serving in the jungles of Ecuador and wanted to be a wild man. As it turns out, a thick blonde neckbeard isn't very attractive. My boyfriend did this once because he lost a football-related bet. He can grow a beard pretty much overnight from a clean shaven, so he looked very wild, and it coincided with his work's haunted house in October. Scared a lot of kids. I got fairly intoxicated and decided to tie a towel around my shoulders while completely naked and run in front of her on FaceTime screaming, "Look at my dangle!" She looked at the dangle and liked it. Also, am now disappointed that my fiance never did this. Laugh my ass off. We met our first day of high school, so there are many. My least, her family's favorite, is when I left her messages. This was before cell phones and her parents owned a business. They set their voicemail in a business manner in that you dial 1 for father, 2 for mother, and so on. I found out later it was practice for their office line and that this line went to the same recording, no matter what. I left so many messages of call me ramblings. They were on vacation. Her 4 siblings, and her parents listened to it all on speaker, in a van. We kept it secret for years, until we didn't. It's never stopped. When I kneeled to propose, I landed on a sharp rock and we had to go to the ER because it lodged in my kneecap. Replace rock with rusty nail, and same thing. She had a childhood home she loved, so I bought it without her knowing. Then, I took her back onto it, and when she was reading the deed, I proposed, only to get an old nail in my knee. We got married today. Everything. Just really everything. Our first kiss is one that sticks out in mind. We kissed, and right as we kissed, some air moves in my throat. Sounded like a burp, but it wasn't. It seemed like I burped right into her mouth, and I was mortified. She now knows it wasn't a burp, but at the time, not so much. I'm such a lucky fool and had some big blunders early while learning who I am and who she is. I'm lucky someone so wonderful saw past the stupid young person I was. I hate those esophagus gurgles. My wife and I get them. I get gut gurgles like that too. Sounds like a fart, but it's just my stomach moving around. Transitioning from that uncomfortable to the comfortable phase. I was sitting across the room while she did homework. I farted pretty loudly and she looked at me in the eyes and fired back. Luckily, I had another in the chamber and asserted my dominance, to my surprise, which she matched for a second time, but even louder. Having this all happen in a span of 2 seconds and thinking it was pretty funny, I tried to stop her by forcing one more out to reign supreme. Well, let's just say it wasn't a fart I forced out. One of her favorite stories to tell close friends and family. We've been married for going on 4 years though, so I guess it all worked out for me. TLDR, take a dump in front of potential mates if you are gonna get married. Yeah, I didn't understand this asserting dominance thing, but whenever I fart, my partner matches it. So I say that it's not a competition and he doesn't need to force anything. Turns out he's often holding farts around me, so when I let one loose, he uses it as an opportunity to go for it. Which is stupid. We have been farting around each other for ages. My fartiversary is 28th of May, going on 3 years farting, 6 years of dating, but prior to that, I could always find something to blame it on.